Welcome back to this video, guys, and we are adding 538 projections into our series where we discuss the model projections up until election day. So we've already been doing this with The Economist, and now 538 has released their model for the 2020 presidential race. So it varies from The Economist. It definitely is more neutral. I would say The Economist on their model definitely favors the Democrats a little bit unfairly. 538 more in the middle. And the 538 model actually gave Trump a 30% chance to win the election day on the election last year, which 30-70, yes, that was a large lead for Hillary Clinton, but that's not that far off from a Trump win. So 538 did give Trump a somewhat decent shot at winning, and he did pull it out. So they have made changes to their models to make sure it was more accurate this year. And I'm just going to go through with you and, like how I do with The Economist, discuss what 538 says for each state. So what they do is every couple of hours, they give 40,000 simulations for the election. And yes, 40,000 of them, and says what the most probable scenarios are. The Economist doesn't do that. They just have a model that goes and spits out a number. 538 actually is doing simulations. So they say that Joe Biden wins roughly 73 in 100 times. So a 73% shot at winning the election compared to Trump's 27. So it is saying right now Trump is less favored to win the election now as of today than he was on election day in 2016. But 3 percentage points, that's still so close. So what I really want to talk about now is before I go into the states, it's showing the path to victory, how the states up here in darker red are more conservative states, and states in darker blue are more liberal. So you see here D.C. is the most liberal part in the nation, and it says Nebraska's 3rd district is the most conservative part. So now going down, this is just saying how it has changed over time with their predictions. It started in June 1st. Biden a roughly 70% chance in winning. Then it went up to 80, and it's hovering at roughly 73. So the reason I didn't do this is because they didn't actually release it to the public until just a few days ago, because they wanted to make sure they had every small detail fixed. So here's what it says the closest races are. So North Carolina, Ohio, Arizona, Iowa, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. So surprisingly, Michigan is not on there. They don't think Michigan is that close. But let's talk about it anyway afterwards. So we are going to start off on North Carolina. So they say it is a complete toss-up in North Carolina. So of the 40,000 simulations that they just did, Biden wins 50% of those simulations. Trump wins 50% of those simulations. So literally as dead even as it can get. And that ranges anywhere from Biden winning 60% of the vote to Trump winning 61% of the vote. But they're roughly in the middle where either candidate can get roughly 50% of the vote. So this really shows North Carolina, as of today, is the most competitive state in the race. And this model shows exactly why here. Different than The Economist, which you'll see 538 is definitely much closer, puts Trump and Biden much closer in the race than The Economist does. But I think both of them are still excellent at determining the race. And it says how here is just what has happened, how Biden has been really the favorite to win North Carolina, but it has since tightened up, and now it is a dead 50-50 race. And here is what the polls are saying about North Carolina. You have Trump and Biden up in various polls. So definitely showing that it is a very, very close race. So now let's go to the next state, the state of Ohio. So they say it is also a toss-up in Ohio, and of the 40,000 simulations, Trump wins 54 in 100 times to Biden's 46. So Trump has a 54% chance of winning Ohio if the election was today, they believe. So you see, though, everything is fairly close. So 54-46 means that Ohio may really be a toss-up, but I don't think so. You see, the 40,000 simulations were taken 29 minutes ago. So just looking back at how the leads have switched over time, I don't really want to talk about this too much, so I won't talk about how the forecast has changed. I do that much more with The Economist, not really with 538, because 538 offers different features that I want to talk about. So here you see that the polling in Ohio is a mix. Some of them are giving Biden the lead, some of them are giving Trump the lead. And what could be skewing this a little is this poll that has Trump up 8 points, and also the two polls that have Biden up 4 points. So I don't really think Trump will be up and winning Ohio by 8 points. I definitely don't see Biden winning it by 4 points or even 2. If Joe Biden can somehow win Ohio, I see him winning it by less than half a percentage point. Probably the same amount Hillary Clinton lost Michigan by in 2016. So now we are going on to the state of Arizona. So Joe Biden is slightly favored to win Arizona, given a 56% chance compared to Trump's 44. And guys, I recommend you going on 538 to checking this out yourself, checking every couple of days to see what is happening. So remember, I'm not going to talk about how the forecast has changed in the 538 miles. I do that when I talk about The Economist. And you see how the polls are influencing the forecast here. Biden has been ahead in so many different Arizona polls, with the one exception, Trump being up +1 in this. But this pollster is rated C- by 538. That is not a good rating. So Trump has a 44% chance to win Arizona, according to 538, as of today. So now let's go on to the next state, the state of Georgia. So Trump is slightly favored to win Georgia. This is something I agree with totally. It is giving Trump a 65% chance. So I think that Georgia has definitely tightened up, but it's still in Donald Trump's favor. And I just don't see the state flipping. You see a lot more of the models have Trump winning by much more percentage of the vote. And Georgia, it seemed like it was getting close late June, early July, but it has widened in favor of Donald Trump. So the polls, Joe Biden has actually been ahead in a lot of the polls in Georgia, which is surprising. But Georgia here, it's just something that when you look at the demographics of Georgia and the past voting patterns, it's something that this is a state, Georgia, Iowa, Texas, and really New Hampshire are the 4 states that I would not trust the polling for, really. The other states I would, because they're more of a true 50-50 split. In Georgia, actually, it's actually very close to a 50-50 split in terms of Democrats or Republicans, but the independent vote largely goes Republican in the state. So Trump, 65% chance to win Georgia. So now going on to the largest prize on election night, the state of Florida. The largest prize in terms of competitive states, excluding Texas. So it is giving Biden a 66% chance to win Florida based on their 40,000 simulations, taking the averages of that. And in almost every poll taken in Florida that 538 believes is a real legitimate poll that should be used has Biden ahead. You have the one poll that puts them even by a C plus pollster, which isn't that great. We look for ones that are in the A range, but when those come up, I really believe anything above B plus is satisfactory. So Biden 66% chance for Florida. Now going on to Iowa, which Biden and Obama won in 2008 and 2012 before Trump took it by a large margin in 2016. Biden has a 32% chance to win Arizona, so he most likely will not be winning it again for the third time when he's on a presidential ticket. And it seems like Donald Trump will carry Iowa 6 electoral votes, small prize on election night. And the polling here largely favors Trump, and the reason I believe it's so close with 68% in favor of Trump is maybe this could be swinging a little bit. This one poll by David Binder Research has Biden up 6, but we will see. So 538 is giving Trump 68% chance for Iowa. Now moving on to Texas. Trump has a 70% chance to win Texas, and this is very similar to what The Economist believes as well. I think Trump will definitely carry Texas and won't be that much to talk about. But looking at the polling has been very mixed in the state of Texas. Even Fox News saying that Trump and Biden are neck and neck. So it is interesting to see what will be happening here. And can Joe Biden make it close? Even if he doesn't pull out of Texas win, it's still a huge win for Democrats if they can make it within 2 points. That means by 2024, it will 100% be a true swing state on the same level as, let's say, Arizona, for example. So now going on to Pennsylvania. So we have 4 more states to go. It says Joe Biden is favored to win the state of Pennsylvania based on the 40,000 simulations with a 75% chance of winning that. So a 3 and 4 shot. And all the polling has been having Joe Biden favored in Pennsylvania by a large margin. So that is what is making this forecast 75% chance for Joe Biden. So that is a large margin. So now going to, I really wanted to skip Minnesota, so no need to talk about it much, giving Biden a 73% chance. So the final 2 states I want to talk about is Wisconsin and then Michigan in a little more depth. So Biden is favored to win Wisconsin with a 73% chance at winning the state here. And the polling, once again, has Joe Biden massively favored in the state of Wisconsin. So now the next state and final state I really want to talk about is the state of Michigan. So Biden is favored to win Michigan with an 82% chance to win. Michigan is potentially losing its battleground state status. Democrats are just pulling ahead in every poll. Looking at here, some polls double digits. Can you really consider a swing state if you're consistently getting some polls that are in double digits? I mean, the Trump campaign the other week pulled advertising from Michigan for a campaign reset because they didn't think they had the necessary capacity to continue running these ads and actually have a legitimate shot at winning. So Michigan is the one state Democrats feel they have a really, really great chance at winning back. And you see here how Biden is definitely favored to win the state, mostly by within 0 to roughly 7 percentage points. That's where most of the scenarios are falling in. So that is really it, and that is what 538 projections has. So Biden is favored to win the election according to 538 and The Economist as well. So that is it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in for this video. And if you want to stay up to date on everything for the election, just hit the subscribe button so you'll see. And if you want to see a video where I will talk about what happens in the future or anything, just comment it below and I will make sure to post that. So thank you guys so much for watching this.